This assignment asks us to consider how we can effectively speak to people who are grieving. This made me think of our cremation class. At the very end, we had a Zoom conference with Glenda Stansberry, and what she did is she went around the Zoom room essentially and gave us different scenarios and then asked us to tell her what we would say to the family. In this instance, we were asked to strike "sorry for your loss" from our vocabulary. It's cliche. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. And I have firsthand experience where I saw a director approach a family member and they said "sorry for your loss." And to which he responded, "Do you ever get tired of saying that? Because I get tired of hearing it." In this situation, this man was feeling guilty for the death of his father. His father passed away from COVID, and he's the only one other member in the family who had it. So he, to this day, feels that he's the reason why his father passed away. This is what we need to consider when we're speaking to our families. They could be bringing in more than just sadness, more than just grief, more than just pain. They could be coming in with anger and guilt and fear. So we can't have an umbrella catch-all phrase for each person we meet. We have to consider why we're saying something as opposed to what we're saying. Are we saying something to bring comfort to ourselves? Does it make us feel better that we said something to the other family member? For example, this is a doozy of an expression that I heard. Somebody said, "Their divine purpose has been met, and I hope it is on to more of what it needed." I still don't know what that means. And I can guarantee that the only thing you're going to receive from that is just either a confused look or a thanks, and then the person's going to go on with their grief. So, many times throughout the semesters, we've been asked to read pieces of work from Doug Manning, Glenda Stansberry's father. The Power of Presence is a great read. It's a workshop. Again, it gives us scenarios of what to say. And I like the imagery of getting into somebody else's bucket. Again, we have to consider what the person's bringing. If in order to effectively communicate with somebody, we have to understand who they are. Sometimes families are people that you can joke around with. Sometimes people are ones that are coming to the funeral home and they just want to get through the arrangements, no small talk, and that's perfectly okay. That's what they need in that moment. Um, there's no there's no list that I could possibly give out that's going to work for every family. I looking back at a TED Talk that I recently watched from Kate Shute. It's called Grief Casserole, and she dives into the story of her grief journey. She became her mother's primary caretaker. She was a musician. She put her life on hold, and she recalls her mother not wanting her to be around because she felt guilty that her daughter was dropping everything she was wanting to do and wanted to achieve just to take care of her, and her daughter had to reassure her that she's there. And throughout this entire time, she had family and friends completely ignore her. And essentially they said, "I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to make things worse, or I didn't want to bring it up." And Kate Shute makes a great point. She goes, "Well, it was up. There's nothing you can possibly say that can make it worse." And what she strives and what she tells people is that whatever you say to somebody who's grieving, make sure it's honest, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be life changing. It doesn't have to be a line from a song or poetry. It could be simple as, "That sucks. That hurts. You must feel awful." That's going to get a more genuine response than any word potpourri you could possibly sprinkle at somebody. So, again, my key takeaways from effectively communicating with somebody who's grieving is just be honest, consider what they're feeling, and ask yourself if you're trying to make yourself feel better or if you genuinely care about what's in somebody else's bucket. Thank you.